Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority will now come to order. First item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any today? Okay.
May I just, before
Absolutely.
we begin, take the opportunity to introduce Chris Mount?
Hi,
Chris
how are
Mount
you?
is sitting with Remy. Chris is one of our IT consultants. He has come here from New Jersey to join us and to work on some IT matters here that are going on.
Welcome to God's country.
We'll be seeing more of him because Remy will be out on parental leave soon. And so Chris will be,
Nice.
you'll see Chris around more often.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great team.
All right. Any other comments? Next is the minutes of the April 9th, 2025 board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Peter, second by Karen. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the election of officers. Pleasure. Nominations.
Nomination, Salome for chair.
Second.
We have a motion, duly second. If I can ask you to amend the motion, just, how do we do it? Can we just keep it as?
So we do the slate of
The
officers?
slate of officers?
I'd recommend a slate
Yeah.
as all four, and that way it would be one vote.
Thank you. So will the main motion so amend?
Yes.
And the second?
Second.
Okay, so we have amendment, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next is engagement of federal government relations specialists.
Yes, so that's me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. So, as you know, we work with government relations specialists, but there's been new developments with our grants and with other issues going on at the federal level, and so we sought specifically a federal government relations specialist. I did work within my authority with John Grizabian. He's a Rhode Islander, Henderson Brown, and now operates and conducts his business in DC. He has strong relationships with people in appointed and elected positions in Washington. So I worked with him on within my authority to spend up to $25,000 because it was urgent once we knew that there was some correspondence, and there continues to be correspondence suggesting that our grant agreements may get changed to comport with the agenda of the new administration, issues such as DEI and immigration, and the fact that the state of Rhode Island grants driver's privilege cards. So with all of that percolating, we did work on a limited basis with Mr. Grizabian. We also, of course, mindful of our duty to go out to procurement, we went out with a request for proposals and received 2 responses. And clearly Mr. Grizabian was the more affordable of the 2. And so I would respectfully ask that the amount that he proposed to charge us is $5,000 per month. I think that's reasonable given what we will be asking him to do. And as I mentioned, his duties definitely will extend beyond just the grants. I'll just mention one example. The tolling industry is concerned about a challenge to its use of the 900 megahertz space for tolling. If there's a company that is looking to occupy that space for another purpose, and if that were to be granted, all of our protocols, the box that you're familiar with in your cars, which is called the TDM protocol, and 2 other protocols, which are called 6C and SIGO, they would all be threatened by occupation of this part of the bandwidth. So that's another federal issue that's pending before the Federal Communications Commission, and that's another federal issue that we'll be asking for help on. So there are many issues at the federal level we're very concerned with, and I would ask that the board consider engaging Mr. Grizabian at the cost of $5,000 per month.
Thank you, Laura. Peter?
I certainly agree with the concept. Just a suggestion, I didn't see anything in the proposal that talked about a deliverable, as in like a monthly report to you. And I recommend that we add that to the the approval.
And I think that's appropriate, and I will make
There's
certain.
nothing that says,
Okay, well, I don't, and point well taken.
Yeah,
That being said, do I have a motion to appoint Mr. Kazabian, and you'll relay that request by Mr. Generos for that monthly report to you, which you can, if necessary, feel it necessary to pass along to us. Is that good, Peter?
yes, that's fine.
Okay, so we have a motion by Peter, second by Karen. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.
thank you.
Next is the comprehensive assessment of PCI 4.0.1 compliance contract.
Yep, I'll take that.
Yes, sir.
On March 19, 2025, RIPTA issued an RFP seeking proposals from qualified firms to provide a comprehensive assessment of the authority's payment card industry data security standards. RIPTA is committed to safeguarding cardholder data and complying with PCI DSS requirements. This assessment aims to evaluate current compliance levels, identify areas of non-compliance, and establish a roadmap for remediation. The scope of the assessment will span any department that accepts credit card data. On April 15, 2025, we received 7 proposals, and the selection committee met to discuss the proposals. After the meeting, the selection committee independently scored each of the proposals, with Global Solutions Group attaining the highest score. RIPTA staff has not worked with this firm in the past, and an interview was set up with GSG. Following the interview, the selection committee reconvened and determined that GSG was highly qualified to provide these services, and each member submitted a final scoring sheet which is attached. I'm requesting that we enter into agreement with GSG in the amount of $39,950. And if you have any questions, that's why Chris Mount is here, because he is our technical person.
Questions? Peter?
It just seems like it's certainly warranted that we make sure that we protect the data of everybody. And looks like a thorough proposal.
It's almost like
Any
insurance.
comments at all, Chris?
No, just here for a question you guys may have.
Karen?
Yep, all set. Motion
Okay,
approved.
motion by Karen, second by Peter. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Image Review and Customer Service Call Center Agreement.
That's me, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So since the beginning of April, we've experienced an increase in the number of bill-by-plate tolling transactions. We've also experienced, as we've ramped up with our new back-office system, an increase in the number of invoices that are going out to EasyPass customers. The reason that's happening is those invoices are highlighting issues with their accounts. So while it's painful right now, in the long run, it will straighten out many of our EasyPass accounts, and it's a good thing, albeit painful as we make our way there. In addition, we've had an extraordinarily high call volume in our call center. Much of the increased volume is due, again, to the full rollout of the new back office system. Given the urgent need for additional help, I can't tell you, I can't stress enough how hard our workforce is toiling day after day. I give them credit for showing up every day and addressing these challenges in the walk-in center and on the phones. And given all of that, there was an urgency for additional help. We had worked with a company in the past called Global Agility Solutions. They had done work with Capsh before, so we were familiar with them. They have helped other tolling authorities that have been in the situation of needing urgent help with an overload of volume on the phones and in the walk-in centers. So I reached out to them. We really had to do that because we have a small staff. We also have to account for some percentage of people who may call in sick for any given reason, and our walk-in center and our phones are just inundated with calls. I reached out to them. They immediately answered the call. Again, I used my authority to work with them on an interim basis. Again, we know that we have to comply with procurement laws. So we are putting out a request for qualifications. However, in the meantime, Global Agility really just sprang into action and is preparing to help us, has worked with our IT team immediately to get our workforce the help that they need. So we will continue this process. We obviously, I have indicated the financial effect to be not in excess of $25,000 because that is my authority, but we will put out an RFP or an RFQ to make certain that we know what the who else is out there and make sure we review other proposals. However, this really could not wait, quite frankly. We need the help, so I exercise that authority, and I would ask the board to consider approving my use of that authority to get us the help we need with our customer service center workforce.
Thank you, Laura. Questions?
Just curious, are the call center people union, and have they gone back at all on that?
Some of this work that they're going to be doing is the image review, and that when we negotiated the creation of those positions, we made that shared bargaining unit work. So it's there. So they have 5 image review clerks here. We make certain that we offer them overtime as well, and then we are supplementing their services with this outside company. It's all onshore, not offshore help for the phone center also. So, music to our ears, all of their staff is bilingual, English and Spanish. We have a lot of truckers and we have a lot of other customers, individual customers who are Spanish speaking. At the moment, we only have one Spanish speaking bilingual customer service rep. So.
In your estimation, how much will this cut back on wait time, do you think? Or is it hard to tell?
We're hoping it's going to cut it down to within reason, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the phone tops. I mean, they've asked us how much do you want to bring it down?
Really?
They will tailor their services for us to our needs. So and whatever we think. Right now the wait is long, and
yes.
I do get calls. If I don't get them from board members, I might get a call from constituent services in Providence. We make sure that, I can't say enough about the staff down there. They're not going home at 5 when they're, they've agreed, they've stayed, they leave with smiles on their faces, and sometimes I wonder how, because it has been challenging to handle the volume of work here, and we're going into the summer, so this situation has to be addressed.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just for the record, I see in the packet a proposed contract with Global Agility Solutions. That's been reviewed by me as well as the authority's insurance broker to make sure that the required insurances are sufficient and in proper form. The form of the contract that's in the board packet is missing a sentence that has been added like within the last couple of days that is acceptable to us regarding insurance. It just didn't make it in time for the packet to go out.
They added it? Or
We added it. It's something that we wanted to make sure that the insurance was, it's about waiver of subrogation,
Okay.
and it's a sentence that we proposed that they're agreeable to. It's just not in this contract because it's late breaking news, but I didn't want there to be a perception that this is the final contract. It is the final contract except for that approved sentence, which Starkweather and Shepley has approved and I have approved. So the ultimate contract is going to have an amendment to section 12.
So in the motion, whoever makes the motion should say with the amended contract.
Correct.
Further comments, Laura? No, you good? Anyone?
good.
So do I have a motion to approve the contract with the amendment, or with the sentence that's amending the... We have a motion, second by Peter. Is that good enough, Brian?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, we're on Mount Hope Bridge routine inspection.
Yeah, take that, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The team recently completed the routine inspection of the Mount Hope Bridge. During the routine and non-redundant steel tension members inspection, the team identified a crack originating at the end of stringer S6 extending along the bottom of the web at the north side of panel point 27S. A team notified RIPA immediately and identified it as a priority repair. It was not identified as an emergency, it was just a priority. Subsequently, a team provided RIPA with a proposed temporary repair detail which will require the access services of a company called Can USA Incorporated. They've been a subcontractor to Attain in the past, they've used them before, so Can USA will install a temporary access platform for RIPA maintenance staff to access the location and perform the repair in-house. When the repair is complete, Can USA will remove the platform. Attain will oversee all coordination with Can USA for the task order amendment. Attain has submitted this task order amendment in the amount not to exceed $24,800, and RIPA staff recommends approval of this.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Peter, second, discussion.
Yes, yeah. I just think that I'd like to ask the question, is this going to be a welding repair?
No, so they'll weld in a shim, they won't weld the crack, they'll drill a hole in the crack and they'll weld in a shim, and it'll just basically keep the
No.
crack from propagating.
My point is that we've got some pretty good in-house staff that
Right.
is able to get this work done, so.
We'll be using our in-house welder fabricator to do the repair.
That was my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Peter, seconded by Karen, further discussion. So, but, I mean, the bridge is safe, right?
No, it's safe, yeah.
Okay.
That stringer is a part of an entire deck system that supports the deck, so it's not a fracture critical member by any means. There's many strings under there, so.
Okay. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is structure, County Bridge routine inspection, new load rating.
Take that one as well.
Yes, sir.
As you know, Federal Highway requires routine inspections on the bridges every 2 years. Structure E Bridge, which is actually listed in the inventory as Kearney Bridge, curiously, is due September 17th, 2025. The inspection follows the National Bridge Inspection Standards and is detailed and labor intensive. RIPA will receive a detailed report of deliverables, which will be used to plan required maintenance and capital projects. Although, as I will note, that bridge has been rehabilitated to the point where I don't anticipate any repairs for quite some time now. Federal Highway also requires new load ratings to be performed every 8 years or sooner if changes in conditions warrant. Both conditions exist. The last load rating was 8 years ago, but the bridge again was just rehabilitated with a brand new bridge deck. RIPA received, we solicited cost proposals for the routine inspection and new load rating from 5 pre-qualified on-call infrastructure professional services consultants. 2 firms responded with pricing. One was Green International in the amount of $35,137, and Commonwealth Engineering and Consultants in the amount of $29,059. Collins, Beta, and GM2 did not provide a price quote. The costs included in the proposal were benchmarked against previous inspection and load rating costs and determined to be reasonable by RIPA staff. $15,000 was budgeted for this year's inspection and $40,000 for the load rating based on previous cost analyses. RIPA staff recommends awarding this contract to Commonwealth Engineers and Consultants in the amount not to exceed $29,059.
Questions? Discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Karen, second by Peter. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, vessel strike vulnerability assessment of Newport Pell Bridge.
Take that one as well. RIPA received an urgent safety recommendation from the NTSB requesting development of a vessel strike vulnerability assessment for the Pell Bridge. RIPA staff interviewed Majeski & Masters from our on-call list of consultants and determined that the firm has extensive experience in vulnerability assessment for other agencies. RIPA staff requested M&M to prepare and submit a proposal to perform this assessment per the AASHTO guidelines as recommended by the NTSB. M&M submitted the attached proposal in the amount not to exceed $227,144. RIPA staff reviewed and negotiated the proposal and fee and considered the final version to be reasonable. The cost of this assessment is unbudgeted, but will be included in the FY26 budget, as most of this work will occur in that period. RIPA staff recommends approval to execute the task order and fee with M&M in the amount not to exceed $227,144.
I have a question for both you and Laurie. I mean, to your credit, both of you and your staff, as soon as the bridge in Baltimore got hit, you two, I mean, your whole staff was on it. I mean, literally, a week or two later, you were on it, met with the Coast Guard, met with all different agencies, right? You came back, and I'm sure you collected a wealth of information.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do in addition to what you already have? What additional information are they gonna provide us?
So they'll do things like they'll look at AIS data, it's a tracking system that commercial ships use. They'll look at data and look at actual ships, and they'll look up the ships, look up what speeds they travel, what weights are they, how much tonnage are they.
But the Coast Guard must have that now.
They have it, but what this consultant will do is they'll take all this data, they'll apply it to the AASHTO guidelines that actually apply to this vulnerability assessment, and they will calculate a risk factor in the end. They'll look at how they navigate the channel, the geometry, they'll look at the structure of the bridge, they'll look at the way the piers are designed, they'll look at the open span, the vertical clearance. All of this will get applied to that manual, and they'll come up with a risk factor. And what the guidelines will have is, if you're at a certain risk factor or below, you will have to do no mitigation. They'll say your risk is low enough that there's no mitigation required. If you're above it, then they'll require a mitigation plan. And that would be a step 2 to this, if we're above the risk factor. That could include modifications to the bridge. It can include just changes to the way the navigation is handled, which would mean working with the Coast Guard, with RIDEM, with the Pilots Association. It could be a combination of things. It could be something to the bridge and navigational changes, or again, it could be nothing.
And this is just a FYI. So is this necessary in order for this agency to continue to get grants?
It was a recommendation by NTSB, but we feel strongly that we should follow the recommendation and get this information on file.
Okay.
It's not required by a grant agreement per se.
Yeah.
So NTSB cannot mandate agencies to do things. They can only make recommendations, but most of the time their recommendations are taken seriously.
Thank you. Further questions, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Karen, second by Peter. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Newport PAL Infra Grant Project, main suspension cables and anchorages, investigation and dehumidification design and construction services.
I'll take that one as well, thank you. RIPA staff requested AECom, the selected consultant for Newport PAL Infra Grant Project, main suspension cables and anchorages, investigation and dehumidification, to prepare a task order and fee for design and construction support services. AECom submitted the attached proposal in the amount not to exceed $4,516,235. RIPA staff and HDR, our program manager, reviewed and negotiated the proposed fee and consider the final version to be reasonable. The task order will be shared with Federal Highway with a brief explanation of the review and negotiation process for their concurrence and records. RIPA staff recommends approval to execute this task order and fee with AECom in the amount not to exceed $4,516,235.14, actually, pending Federal Highway's review and concurrence.
Questions, discussion, Peter?
Yes, yeah. First off, I want to say that I think this is a very comprehensive proposal. It covers a lot. And there's a couple components to this. There's the initial inspection of the structure itself. It's included in all of this. And that's a lot of physical work on site, to test the cables to make sure that they're okay. And then doing the design to go out to bid. But then beyond that, and this is, I think worth mentioning, is that it also includes construction support services. So once the construction starts, part of this funds is used to oversee the construction itself. So it's design and construction service both. That's why it's such a big number, because it covers everything. That was pretty comprehensive.
Thank you.
Just a question for you. This is eligible for federal funding?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Peter, second by Karen. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, capital projects.
I'll take that one again. Phase 2 AET construction, which is outside the window here, is actually complete this week. They're wrapping up and cleaning up. As you can see, the former toll plaza area is pretty clean. We will be starting to ask employees to park back there, at least for now. It will help relieve the customer service area of all the congestion, and I mean, people are parking down beyond maintenance and walking up. It's been pretty busy. So we'll start parking. We're actually constructing a roadway through here with some asphalt millings, and we'll be able to start parking in the back and freeing up this parking out here in the front of the building. Suspension cables and anchorages, investigation and dehumidification, final design for Mount Hope Bridge. That project is out to bid. We currently have a bid opening date set for June 6th. We may extend it a couple weeks just due to the number of questions we received on the project to allow bidders more time to put the bids together and get some good numbers. Deck overlay design for Mount Hope Bridge. I'll give you an update on this one. So this was originally rubberized asphalt chip seal. During our pre-bid conference, we fielded concerns from contractors, which were followed up in writing via questions on the process, and the contractors had concerns about the amount of time it would take to do the required repairs, and that we might miss the window for rubberized asphalt chip seal. We listened to that, and we actually did a little more research, and we found another process that's called ultra-thin bonded overlay. It's a process that, as it turns out, Massachusetts has been using on miles and miles of their highways, where they go in and they grind off about 3/4 of an inch of the top surface of the asphalt, and they go in and they put this thin layer of ultra-thin bonded overlay pavement, and it's a polymer-based pavement, and they put it down and they roll it out. So we looked into this and had some discussions with the consultant, and we modified the contract to become ultra-thin bonded overlay. So we didn't cancel the bids, we had to just change some of the specs, and we reissued them as an addendum. They'll still go in, they'll grind the surface down, they'll make patches with hot mix asphalt, and then they'll come in and essentially when they get done, the entire bridge will have what will be considered new pavement. Even though it's not really like paving the bridge, it's a very thin layer, but it will be homogeneous all the way across the bridge with this process. So we extended the bid date out. We've made it now, bids due May 21st, and we're, hopeful there'll be some good bids on this.
What's the lifespan of this stuff?
So the lifespan varies. It varies based on what the substrate condition is like. So, we're figuring it's better than chip seal. We're figuring we could probably get 5 years out of it, and probably have to make some repairs out there in the meantime still. We know we're gonna have to get out there and make repairs afterwards.
Cost-wise, compare?
Based on the concerns we heard from the contractor, we think it's actually gonna be less costly than what we had put out the bid originally, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we're optimistic that we're gonna get a better product with this. I mean, it's putting a Band-Aid on the bridge for 5 years either way. I think it's just a better Band-Aid, so.
The ultimate goal is deck replacement.
Right.
That's right. And the ultimate goal of this project is to get back rideability, because that's the complaint we hear about, is the riding surface. So we think that the rideability will be better with this than we would have had with the chip seal. So that's out the bid with a modified contract. The compression link is now complete. They've demobilized everything. Everything's been removed from the bridge. Our temporary equipment has been put back in our compound. Our our program manager on the infra project has been working out very well. They've been doing all their reviews with us on the consultant task orders. As you know, we just approved another one. The deck design for that project is underway. The consultant M&M did all of the deck evaluation already with non-destructive testing. We're waiting for them to compile that report. It's due this month, so we can figure out what the condition of the deck is and decide which way we go with the rehab. Steel repairs and joint replacement design for Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge. We opened bids on that project, and we're in the middle of doing a bid review and analysis on that with our consultant. The apparent low bidder was John Rocchio Corporation. I've worked with them in the past on a highway relocation, and they're well versed in doing bridge work around the state. New roof construction, that should start soon. The contractor was waiting for the weather to start to get better. I think once we get out of the rainy period, they'll start doing the roofs on both of these buildings. The HVAC for the admin building, we've been working through all the shop drawings. They've notified us of a lead time on some blower fans. We're working with them on that. We're going to be scheduling a meeting to discuss all that. And inspections have been going along as planned. If anybody's got questions?
Thank you, Eric. Questions? Thank you, Eric. Good. Nice job. Next, Jeff.
Yep. With respect to year-to-date revenue, while traffic exceeded budget by 3.9%, revenue was lower by $528,000. Lower toll revenue of $823,000 was partially offset by higher gas tax proceeds of $269,000. The toll revenue was lower primarily due to the pause in invoicing, lower violation fees incurred, and lower reciprocity payments from away agencies. Overall, operating expenses were lower than budget by approximately $325,000. The primary drivers are as follows. Personnel expenses were lower by $487,000, primarily due to open positions in the maintenance and customer service departments. Other supplies and expenses were lower by $272,000, primarily due to lower postage and supplies as a result of the delay in invoicing. Bridge inspections were higher by $148,000, primarily due to the timing of inspections compared to what was assumed in the budget. And finally, repairs and maintenance were higher by $284,000, primarily due to the costs associated with repairs as a result of 2 accidents and additional maintenance costs on the bridges. With respect to the insurance claims, in April, we did recover $140,000 from 2 claimants. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. All right, next, Laura.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the transition to the new back office system, we've already spoken about that today, that continues. The EMOBIS continues to work with us to have personnel on site, to have personnel available and to schedule regular meetings with us to address all of the, we call them tickets, that when we see a problem with the new system, we identify it and we expect them to address it promptly. So we are happy to see, we welcome the enhanced involvement that they have had, being here on site frequently, being available to us always, and having regular meetings now to discuss any additional issues. So between that and the customer service center improvements, we're expecting to see that our system is working smoothly. The customer service initiatives.
That was my question.
Yep. Yes. I mean, it all dovetails together, all of the initiatives that we're taking. The customer service initiatives, I've already spoken to some of those involving enhanced reinforcements, as I'll say, for our image review and our walk-in and phone systems. Also, as you know, we have an ongoing study of our customer service center and how we operate here to serve our customers and to do so without taxing our workforce beyond their what's reasonable to expect. So that company, RK&K, has been continuing to work on the study of the customer service center, and they are in fact on site actually right now. So again, we're looking forward to, they've already made some suggestions, and we'll be, we expect, we'll have a report back. If not in June, then in the next meeting after that. The Infra and Protect grants, just a reminder that the Infra grant is signed, and we have been receiving funds pursuant to that Infra grant. That's the $82.5 million for the Pell. So even though there was a press release that you may have seen last week about money being released, and that was on it, the fact is it was never frozen. We have been receiving money since last August, and we received the latest disbursement as recently as last week, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff. So that has continued on. The Protect grant is the $17 million for the Mount Hope Bridge. That agreement is not signed, so that's the one that we're most worried about. Although, again, back to needing a voice in Washington, there have been several letters recently about all grants, and even using the term rescission of grants already awarded, which, as I've mentioned, the Pell is already in place and money is flowing. But one letter is the one I already mentioned about ICE, cooperation with ICE and DEI and states in which drivers' licenses are issued to undocumented residents. That's one letter that's of concern. And then yesterday, there was a proposal on the to the Protect, a proposed amendment to the Protect grant for the $17 million for Mount Hope that asked us to check a different box in the labor initiative section. The box that we had checked was to say that we would have a project labor agreement in place. They have eliminated that as an option and asked us to check a different box in terms of our labor initiatives, all of which goes back to why we need a voice in Washington. So we will continue to work on that. And the next board meeting is scheduled for June 11th. And that's what I have.
Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Thank you, everyone. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Thank you.